All right, everybody, welcome back to the 1 a.m. podcast. As you can see, a couple of different backgrounds here. We got Jelani here with the beach background, and we got Mo in his usual background, but I got a different background right here. I'm just in my living room. This isn't 1 a.m. This is like 1 p.m. This is a 1 p.m. podcast, Mountain Time. Fellas, first of all, how you doing? Oh, hold on. Let me introduce myself. My name is Rashad Milligan. This is Mo Knows, and that's Jelani Easley. Without further ado, fellas, how y'all doing?
Doing good, bro. How you doing?
Doing
Man,
well.
I'm good, man. It's been, you know, halfway through the week. Been a good week so far, and
Right.
finish out strong.
Stay positive, black man.
Exactly.
And I remember I was thinking, I was like, what albums came out this week? And then I was like, oh yeah, Baby Keem. Baby Keem, disappointing album. And I know we're supposed to start with but that Baby Keem was not it, bro. In a time where it was back-to-back albums where I was like, oh, this album's really good. This album's really good. This album isn't as good as this one, but it's still good. That Baby Keem was not it for me, bro. Did y'all hear the Baby Keem album before we get into our topics?
Yeah.
I ain't listened to it front to back. I skimmed through it.
Okay. I listened to it. I've heard it I haven't heard the whole thing front to back multiple times, but I've heard of multiple songs on there multiple times. And I like it. I think, I think Buddy talented. But for me, this is my first real introduction to Baby Keem. I heard Orange Soda, but I didn't really listen to that whole tape.
I love that last tape. I love the last tape, and I thought you put me on with it. That's why I was surprised when you said you didn't hear the whole thing.
Nah, I heard Orange Soda, and I was like, I like that song. And then the rest of the tape, I heard a couple songs, but I didn't really go through front and back. But
Yeah, that tape is really good, man.
I'm gonna have to listen to it. But I personally like this album. What made me really want to give it a listen was all the comparisons that, I don't know if you saw that people are saying this album might have been better than Drake's. I don't agree on that point, but I was like, let me go listen. Cause, if everybody, I see a lot of people saying it,
Folks just be talking.
Yeah, I think it was something different. I think that's what really, since Drake album was, as everybody's been saying for the last week and a half, it was a compilation of songs he's already done. With Baby Keem, in my opinion, came with something fresh. It was
I agree
oh
with
man,
that. I agree with that. It was very creative. He took a chance. He took a chance.
right. Yeah, so I personally enjoyed it. I definitely don't think it better than Drake's. I think, he's only 20, so he's gonna grow. I think that's the issue with certain artists sometimes when they're younger, just the subject matter ain't really what people want to hear. Well, I mean, people are.
But you got to think, it's like he and kind of Jaden Smith are in the same boat. Like Jaden Smith grew up as Will Smith's
Yeah,
son.
that's true.
Like what is, what I'm saying? Like all he can rap about is heartbreak. Like all he can rap about is heartbreak. And then, he can rap about, just like because a lot of stuff that Jaden raps about is a lot of like socially conscious stuff of like, this is what's going on in the world and it's messed up. By the way, my heart's broken. I can't believe you broke my heart, girl. And like Baby Keem, a lot
Yeah,
of it is like, I got all these girls. I love girls, like he's girl crazy, but like
yeah,
his uncle's Kendrick Lamar. You know what I'm saying? Like, and Kendrick, if he's 20, Kendrick's been popping since, like, as we talked about last episode, since 2011, 2010-ish. That's like half his, like, he doesn't remember the time where his uncle wasn't famous, really. He doesn't really remember that time. So, I mean, he kind of grew up privileged.
I don't know if you could say that he grew up privileged because if you like, he still was okay. Let's say Kendrick got popping like 10 years ago. It wasn't like he was immediately in a position where he could just buy, what I mean, cars and cribs for like all of his family like that. Like I'm sure that he got some benefits as a teenager, what I mean, than the average teenager didn't get because Kendrick was his uncle or whatever. But as far as the music itself, from what I heard, and I remember seeing this like an interview that he had did, like it was 808s and Heartbreak was like a big influence of his. And I saw some people saying like sound wise, production wise, that was like a theme that they noticed was like it was similar production. As far as what I liked about the album, like I liked the obviously like the songs with Kendrick. You've been seeing like people been making the memes out of the
Top of the morning, top of the morning, top of the morning.
I've been seeing that. I like that song. I mean, I know I saw some people that didn't really rock with it like that, but it's really it's kind of unfair for Keem because it's like we haven't heard Kendrick in 4 years, and now that I'm hearing Kendrick on these songs, like I'm more inclined to go listen to these Kendrick verses than to listen to his music. You know what I mean? But I think he's a good rapper. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I kind of want to go back to that point Rashad said about him growing up kind of privileged. Throughout his music, you hear him talk about how his mom was kind of down bad. He mentioned that a lot, and like how, he had to grow up in some circumstances in a sense, That's kind of how he speaks about it. So I don't think he was necessarily privileged. And to Jelani, I agree with that. Like, I feel like him having Kendrick on his side is giving him a lot of leeway, because especially with the fact it made me wonder as I'm listening to the album, how would people receive him if he wasn't a direct relative of Kendrick? With him sounding so much like Kendrick, like people would be like, "This dude sound like Kendrick," like they would kind of push him to the side. But since he's a direct relative and he has to co-sign, but also he can't rap. But it's just you sound like somebody we already have, but Kendrick hasn't really been around, so that's also helped.
I think the thing with that before you start, Jelani, is I think this is his kind of, he's already out there. He's already made it. Like Orange Soda, like he said a couple of years ago, that was his coming out party. This kid came out of nowhere. I didn't know he was Kendrick's nephew, cousin, right?
I'm not exactly sure.
Nephew. I think he's his nephew. I think. But nephew, cousin, whatever. It's the same thing. I didn't know he was related into Kendrick until after I discovered him. And then like, when I heard a couple of his songs, Stats, that's the song. That was the opening song on his EP. And like the second half, it sounded like Kendrick. He's like, no, man. I was like, dude, this sounds like Kendrick. And then I found out he was related to Kendrick. I was like, oh, that explains it. But he shied away from the whole Kendrick thing until he got on. It's like Orange Soda and that EP really got him on. He was established for a couple years, did a couple features with people. And then he was like, okay, Kendrick's my relative, y'all. Here are some tracks with Kendrick. Kendrick wants to help me out, excuse me. Kendrick put me in a PG Lane commercial last year. You know what I'm saying? Kendrick didn't really give him that public push, that public cosign until he got on himself. You know what I'm saying? Because a bunch of people got famous relatives, but they're not popping themselves. You know what I'm saying? So I think that Keem kind of did do that thing where he tried it by himself first and then got the famous push.
That's a fact. I do agree with that. Were you gonna say something, Jelani?
Oh no, I said all I had to say about the last. I think he's dope. Does the obviously does it play a role that Kendrick is backing him and that's like his main artist on the new label or whatever. Yeah, of course, but I still think he's dope at the end of the day.
Yeah.
For sure. And let me think of anything, if anything in basketball. Oh, Hall of Fame. Okay, so we're moving on to sports now. Hall of Fame induction was this past weekend. I didn't really pay attention to it. It was so weird because, they pushed back last year's induction ceremony to this year. So it was like, it felt very kind of packed together. It was like, dang, like Vanessa just did the thing for Kobe a couple months ago, it felt like, and now we're doing it again. Like, what the heck is going on? But you guys have any thoughts on this year's Hall of Fame class, the whole Ray Allen beef thing with Paul Pierce and all of them, that talk kind of resurfaced and stuff over the weekend. You guys have any thoughts on this year's class? Salute to Yolanda Griffin. Salute to let me shout out who else was in this class. I can't remember who else was in the class. Yolanda Griffin, Chris Webber, Paul Pierce. Those are Chris Bosh. Those are the guys I can remember. Ben Wallace. Shout out Ben Wallace.
Yeah.
But how'd you guys feel about this year's class and I guess the ceremonies, if you paid attention to it at all?
Real quick, do y'all think Ben Wallace should have made it?
Yes, he was a 4-time Defensive Player of the Year.
Yeah.
Locked up Shaq. Not locked up Shaq. Let me be respectful. We didn't lock up. He compared to other dudes, what other people was doing in the finals against Shaq. He held his own against prime Shaq. So like, yeah, I gotta. I'm not mad at it. A 4-time Defensive Player of the Year. You were the best defensive player in basketball 4 times.
Yeah.
Half a decade. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm not mad at that.
My thing is, it's like when I was a kid, I looked at the Hall of Fame as like the most prestigious honor, right? It was like, these are the all-time greats. And if you're in the Hall of Fame, you're one of the greatest of all time. And I grew up, and then it was like Allen Iverson gets in. I'm like, okay, all right, Iverson. And then it's like Tracy McGrady gets in. I'm like, okay, yeah, he was really, like, he had a good prime. He led the league in scoring a couple times. And then it was like, I'm trying to think of some other guys that I was just kind of like, maybe Vlade Divac. I was like, okay, Vlade Divac, okay.
Yeah.
Ben Wallace, okay. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's a couple of guys in there that you're just like Chris Bosh was one of them. Like, all due respect to Chris Bosh, but I'm just like, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, like, so the more I grow up, the more I'm kind of looking at the Pro Basketball Hall of Fame. Like, is this like the Hall of Fame or like the Hall of really good?
I mean, they are lenient to an extent. Chris Bosh was 11-time All-Star. Though. I ain't got no issue with him getting in. T-Mac was kind of debatable, even though he was definitely dominant for like I'd say like a 6 or 7 year stretch where he was like really like from you went to Orlando 2000, I want to say. I say from like 2000 or like 2007, 2008. You know what I mean? Yeah, they do have some people in there that's kind of questionable when you look at it. But also you got to keep in mind that they go back to like with Vlade, that's his international career too. So it's not like he's just getting in off of his NBA career. As far as his class though, I mean, like I said about Chris Bosh, 11-time All-Star. I'm not mad at him getting in, 2-time champion. Ben Wallace, NBA champion, 4-time Defensive Player of the Year. Ray Allen is self-explanatory. He's definitely, if you go back to college when he was at UConn and his overall NBA career, great NBA career. So I'm not mad at him. But you mentioned Allen Iverson though, like that was kind of iffy. Like I don't know where that came from. Like that was surefire right there.
Right. Yeah. I was like, where is he going with this?
No. Salute to Iverson. Salute to Iverson. Iverson is who he is, but it's just like when I was a kid, it was kind of like Troy Aikman, Joe Montana. These aren't the greatest players ever to play their sport. You know, so like that's like kind of the standard I held it to. And it's like, okay, I guess you can say Iverson is one of the greatest. I know he's obviously one of the greatest small players of all time, if not the greatest small player of all time. But, you know, I don't know. It's just it's a lot of things that I'm just looking at. Go ahead, Mo.
I mean, you got to think with basketball, like, because the people that you just mentioned, Joe Montana, you know, like the greats of football, very few people get into the Football Hall of Fame. It's actually tough. But in NBA, you got to think, you know, T-Mac had you said about a 6-7 year run. That's a long time. You know, like it's one thing if you have just like, all right, you went crazy one year, you know, like that's
Isaiah
like
Thomas.
us putting, yeah, you know, like let's be real. We can revisit this in about 15 years and Isaiah Thomas gets in. Then I'll be like, all right, now what's going on?
Yeah.
But does Derrick Rose get in? That's a better argument than Isaiah Thomas. Does Derrick Rose?
He probably will. I don't think he should, but he probably will.
I mean, youngest MVP ever. You got to think.
Come on, but that's like, what are we like? Like, are we going off like a 3-year run? Like he's been respectable for most of his career outside. Like obviously the injuries of what slowed his career down, and after that, I feel like he's been a respectable NBA player. I feel like last year was probably the closest he's gotten to being sort of what he was in Chicago. It's not the same, obviously, never will be the same, but last year he was respectable. But we going off of what prime Derrick Rose, that was a 3-year run. That was like 2009 to 2012, you know what I mean, when he got injured.
I'm looking at it like this. All right, so when I look at guards, I'm looking at the greatest guards ever. So in our era, Steve Nash, Chris Paul, Steph Curry, Hall of Famers. I look at those guys as Hall of Famers. Those three guys, those three names, that's a different tier than Manu Ginobili, Joe Johnson, whoever the heck you want to throw in with that. You guys, you get what I'm saying? So it's like,
Yeah.
I feel like the Hall of Fame should be John Stockton, Magic Johnson, Steph Curry, Steve Nash, Chris Paul. And then like guys like, I can't even think of a point guard who was like a consistent all-star. Maybe Kyrie Irving or something like that. Kyrie's probably going to get in. By the time he finishes, he won a championship and he's done what he's done. But I mean, like, as far as today, if his career ended today, he'd probably still get in. And I don't think his resume is up to par with Steve Nash, Chris Paul, Steph Curry, et cetera, et cetera.
I mean, so, all right, this year, like, who's deserving? Who did you feel? So Paul Pierce deserved it?
Lauren Jackson, Paul Pierce, like you said.
And then that's it?
Wait, hold on. I'm looking. Rick Alderman. I'll probably say Rick Alderman because what he did for Sacramento. It's like they don't have much to go with. So, I'll say Rick Alderman. Let me see who else. Paul Pierce. Ray Allen got in, right, this year? Ray Allen was this year? Ray Allen. Chris Webber is on the fence. Oh, Jay Wright. Jay Wright definitely deserves to get in. I'm looking at it right now. Yeah. Okay. Oh, yeah, and Tony Kukoc got in today. Okay, yeah. Tony Kukoc deserved to get in for what he did internationally.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm with you on the who did you just say was on the fence just now? I forget what name you just said. It was somebody that you said was on the fence. Say the names you just said. Oh, yeah, you muted, bro.
Yeah. Let me look at it real quick.
It was somebody's name you just said that he was.
Yeah, Kukoc that I just said. Jay Wright gets in for.
Oh, Chris Webber.
Chris Webber.
Yeah. No, I'm with you about that about Chris Webber being on the fence. Even though he had like 5 straight years where I think he was all NBA for like 5 straight years. And he played, when you look at the era where he was like really dominant, from like 99 to like 2003, like look at how loaded the NBA is as far as big men around that time, like Shaq, Duncan,
Kenyon Martin,
young Dirk, like there was a lot of, what I mean? So he played in a real competitive era.
And you don't want to include Kenyon Martin in there?
No, I no disrespect to Kenyon Martin, like no disrespect to him. He had definitely had a pretty good career, you know what I mean? Can't disrespect the man, but not Hall of Fame level, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Rasheed Wallace, who said LeBron wouldn't
Right. Okay. Let's talk about that. What era was he talking about?
Because I watched him do
it. Had to be mid to late 90s, mid to late, because he's now talking about the Detroit days.
Rasheed Wallace came in the league, what, like 95, 96 or something like that? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cuss so early in the podcast. Yeah, he came in the league around that time. So, like, he didn't come in 96. I know he didn't because he wasn't a part of that draft. So, I want to say he came in 95.
95, yep.
Right. He was with Portland for those first, like 7 years. And then he was on the Hawks for 1 game. And then, yeah, if he's talking about the late 90s, then I guess. But if you look at basketball back then, it was a lot of nasty basketball being played. A lot of 80 to 75 scores, you know what I mean? So, you telling me like LeBron could play? He couldn't have played in 97, 98, but I don't know. We had smaller players like Damon Stoudemire that was like cooking back then. Like AI was thriving back then.
Van Exel.
Yeah, exactly. Like this 6'8", 250-pound guy would have been okay.
I'm like, he's not just stronger than most of y'all. He's also faster than most of y'all. So I'm just kind of like, how would he not be able to do his thing?
Yeah. Go ahead, Jelani.
I was saying, and more skilled.
Yeah.
And we're not gonna sit up here and act like the NBA in 1998 or 1997 was that much different than the NBA in 2004, 2005, 2006. Like it started to get more towards where we at now with the shooting and all that in like the late 2000s, early 2010s. But in the mid 2000s, it was still like a lot of low scoring games going on for the most part.
I feel like the turning point was the Malice in the Palace. LeBron was in the league that time. So, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, what are we talking about here? You know, so
Mhm.
I think it's really like you said, it's just a lot of kind of saltiness. You know, LeBron, his coming out party was at 25 points in fourth quarter and overtime in '07 against Detroit in the Eastern Conference Finals in Detroit with the wash Chris Webber, plus the guys that won you a championship a couple years prior that you guys were holding on to 5 years too long. So I mean, I think that's what it is from Sheed. Shout out to Sheed though, Hawks legend. But
Off of
yeah,
one
man.
game.
Oh yeah. Best player in the decade for the Hawks in the 2000s.
Facts.
Hey, speaking of Atlanta sports, y'all saw that Falcons game?
I said it in the group chat. I'm not joking whatsoever. They went down. It was like, no, I think they kicked the field goal the second time down. They went down 7-6. I just took a nap. I had like red zone on the other laptop. I was just like, you know what? I'm just not feeling the energy right now. Maybe they'll be up when I go to sleep. Maybe, who knows? And I woke up and they was getting blown out. And I was like, that makes sense. That seems about right.
You can't be disappointed if you don't have any expectations. All my expectations were going the night that they picked Kyle Pitts over Justin Fields. So it's like, you can't hurt me now. You know what I'm saying? I'm indestructible. You've already broke my heart. You've already ripped it apart, stomped on it, chewed it out. So I don't feel anything. I'm numb now at this point.
Yeah, I think this is really gonna have to be Matt Ryan's like last year or close to it. How many years left he got in his contract?
2, I believe.
Yeah, I know it's close, and because I don't see him really being able to be a proficient quarterback without a real number. I mean, Calvin Ridley's a good number one, but he needed Julio.
Matt's got 2 more years. It runs out in 2023. 2024, he's a free agent.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know. It's just seeing him, like, there was a lot of times where Julio bailed him out. He would just throw it up. You know, his decision making for a while to me just hasn't really been the best. And I feel, you know, that's why Kyle Shanahan, when he was here, he called all the shots. Matt Ryan was the MVP. It's like, oh, I ain't got to do nothing. All I got to do is just do what you tell me. But now it's left up to him to actually make the right play, make the, you know, to do what needs to be done. And I don't see him doing that. We really don't have the offensive line for them to do that. You know, I don't know. This is just going to be a season down the drain in my eyes.
I was about to say, like, it doesn't matter if Matt Ryan can make the plays or not if no one's blocking from up front. They're killing him, man. Matt Ryan is 36, and the way he's getting hit, the way he got hit in that first game is just bad. And then people say, "Oh, Justin Fields won't solve every." Okay, but he made 3 plays with the Chicago Bears, and the 3 times he got in, and each time it was 2 completed passes and then a short touchdown run. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I'd rather have that and lose a game and have something to look forward to, build moving forward, and have a guy who's there for a couple of years to sit behind Matt versus, you know, something that where you're drafting a quarterback and throw him in a situation like, ironically, knock on wood, Josh Rosen, where you don't have a quarterback and you throw a young kid out there because you don't have anybody else. You know what I'm saying? So it's just bad. It's just bad planning. It's like you knew you were going to reset because you knew Julio wasn't going to come back. So what's going on right now? Like why I didn't understand the move for Kyle Pitts at all. And then a lot of people will say, "Oh, offensive line to protect." The Falcons have taken an offensive lineman in the first round the past 2-3 seasons, and it hasn't helped at all. So you might as well go with quarterback, the primary position on the team, and build from there. But I mean, that's just a decision I'm always going to look back and just kick myself over if I think about it too much. And I guess speaking of, you know, quarterbacks and bad situations, Aaron Rodgers, after coming out and explaining why he wanted to get traded, didn't play well at all in week 1. What do you guys think is the future for Aaron Rodgers? Does he finish the season just as a James Harden and Houston type of deal? Or, you know, how do you guys see it going for Aaron Rodgers?
It's only week 1. They still probably end up being a good team. We saw Tom Brady get blown out The Bucks get blown out week 1 last year and won the Super Bowl. I don't really overreact to week 1. I never really bought into the whole like it's the last dance type of thing that he was trying to sell at the beginning of the year because one, y'all haven't won a Super Bowl since we were all in high school. You know what I mean? It was a decade ago. Like y'all have had many opportunities to go and it hasn't happened. So I think this, it's weird because Aaron Rodgers will never see that happen again, probably where a quarterback sits for 3 full years and it ends up being a starter. I think people really lose track of that that was still that era, 2005, 2006, 2007, where he sat on the bench. And now, we just saw it with the Patriots. Not to get sidetracked, but we saw it with the Patriots where they drafted Mac and Cam it might have been because of COVID, but they were like, all right, well, we got this rookie. We're going to start him. So same thing with Jordan Love. It's like, how much longer are you going to let him sit on the bench? Like, even if Aaron Rodgers goes out and he has another MVP season, it's like we made this first round pick in this quarterback. We kind of got to see what we got here. So it definitely is going to be his last year, but I think they'll still end up having a good team.
Yeah. I mean, I think he restructured it so that he's a free agent after this year.
Right.
Yeah, so I think he's gonna try his best, and I think they still got a really good team, like offensively and defensively. So I think they can definitely make the adjustments to bounce back. And next year, I hope he gets to the right team, and because just seeing Matt Stafford out in the Rams now, out in LA, like all it really takes is really having a good, solid team around you. And because a lot of these teams just be kind of trash, man. And like the quarterbacks be just in there drowning. People like Andrew Luck. Andrew Luck was like, I can't take this no more. He's like, bro, I'm hurt every week.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. And the details on Rodgers' contract, he has one more year for 2022, and then 2023. That part has been voided, like you said, Mo, with restructuring and stuff like that. So, that's what's going on with him. And like you said, with Matt Stafford, that was a great point as well. His wife said that he didn't enjoy the game of football. Excuse me, I got tripped up there. He didn't enjoy the game of football for a couple of years. So, the fact that he's in LA and prospering early on, that's a positive sign right there. And, I guess kind of wrapping up the quarterback talk here with Deshaun Watson. What happens to Deshaun? Like, do we just stay in limbo until the court decides something? What's going on with Deshaun Watson?
That's kind of how it's looking for real. I think because he's technically still on the team. There's talks that a lot of teams are looking to trade for him because realistically he's kind of at the lowest price he's going to be at. So they're looking to try. I heard the Eagles tried, or they were thinking about it. I think Miami. But I think for right now, just kind of wait and see. Like, let this whole situation just fizzle out or get resolved.
In college football, sometimes you'll have a situation where a player is getting investigated and the team will sit him out for a couple of games just so hypothetically, if he does end up getting caught, they don't get violated for those games that the player was playing. Now, obviously, there's no penalty. The NFL's not going to void your wins if Deshaun was playing. But I just think for PR purposes, they don't want to have this guy starting with 22 allegations over his head. It's kind of a bad look. You know what I mean? As far as the court stuff, I just let the legal people do what they do. I don't know what happened. I wasn't there. But it's clearly it's not a good look. You can't do your job now because you got these allegations hovering over you. He is, when he's playing, he's a top, I would say at the lowest or a top 8 quarterback. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So for value-wise, he's 25, 26, a top 8 quarterback. If he wasn't going through the situation in a normal year, he would get traded for at least 2 to 3 first-round picks. So, yeah, it's just, like I said, we just at a wait-and-see point now, and nothing else we can really do. It's just you got to let the legal thing play out.
If you're the Falcons, do you trade for Deshaun Watson?
Nah. Yeah. We need them first-round picks. I'm
That's
like,
true. That's true. That's definitely true.
like,
We're not
man,
quarterback away.
he end up getting, jammed up, and we ain't got no quarterback and no first round picks. Y'all might as well sell the team.
Vic 2.0.
I was about to say Vic. That's crazy. Vic can happens again, but all right. So I guess with Cam Newton, where does Cam Newton go? Does Cam Newton get signed this season, or is he out for a season? Does he mellow it?
I think he gets signed. I think there's realistically probably gonna be an injury. Somebody gonna need a quarterback, and then bam, Cam.
Who's Carolina's quarterback? Is it Teddy Bridgewater? No,
Nah,
he's with
Sam
Denver.
Sam Darnold.
Sam Darnold?
Yeah, he did all right.
I was like, he was straight. He was straight this week.
Yeah. So I think
He was straight.
I give Sam Darnold credit. I think they're gonna be straight because I think he was just in a bad situation. I think the Jets they didn't know what they were doing out there. So I think Sam Darnold, you got Christian McCaffrey, you got, DJ Moore and was it Robbie Anderson? Like, he got some stuff to work with. So, and the defense can hold up.
Yeah, they got a respectable team.
All right.
As far as Cam, though, I was watching Stephen A. on Breakfast Club maybe an hour or two ago, and he was saying if Ron Rivera doesn't sign him because they need a quarterback right now, obviously he coached him for a long time in Carolina, it'll probably send a bad sign to the rest of the league. It might be if at this point, because it was like what other better situation is going to pop up unless it's just some team has all three of the quarterbacks get injured or something like that, then your former coach and the starting quarterback gets injured.
Yeah. I think they're going to probably give Taylor Heineke a chance this week to see how he does. And then maybe hopefully go towards Cam if he doesn't do well. Because I think this is his second year on the team and second year with Ron Rivera, ain't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think, just out of partially respecting, he knows the system, they're going to give him this week. But I mean, if he can't really produce, and you don't go to Cam, then I think that is going to be a really bad look. It's just kind of like, why not? I mean, it's going to be kind of the same thing as when, we're looking at teams struggle and Colin Kaepernick was out there. That's an interesting topic. Y'all think he's ever I know this is the same question people have been asking for the last 4 or 5 years, but y'all think is it over? Is it really over?
For the NFL, yes. For the NFL,
yes. It's extremely over.
I was holding on to it for the last 2 years, but after when they blacklisted Eric Reed as well, and Kenny Stills just got signed. He just got signed 2 days ago. These are all Pro Bowl type players. What is going on? Everybody who said Black Lives Matter except for Malcolm Jenkins, because he took a deal with the NFL, they all out of jobs now. They said, okay, we'll see how much you Black Lives when your contract run up.
Right.
So I mean it's crazy.
I was really kind of referring to even if he was to get signed, do you think age wise, could he still are we just past that point?
No. You talk about when you look at third string and second string quarterbacks, when you think about a guy like a Ben Kirky, Kurt Benkert, the Twitch gamer, former Falcons quarterback, now with the Packers on the you know what I'm saying? Colin is good enough. You know what I'm saying? Colin, when you look at Josh Rosen, Colin is good enough. And he's only 33. It's not like he's 37, 38. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's over for him being a starter. But I don't think it'll ever happen. Maybe I can see just randomly, maybe 2 or 3 years from now, because the NFL is weird like that. You'll hear about it's for Matt Schaub being a backup. I know he just retired, but that guy was a backup for a few years. You know what I'm saying? His late 30s, so it could happen. But I think it was over for Cap when they had that try. It was 2019. I want to say he had that tryout.
Yeah.
After that, when no team signed him, then I was like, yeah, he's not getting back in the league.
Jelani, I want to ask you, because I remember Shaw's views on this.
Mhm.
He believed that the tryout from the NFL was a setup. Do you believe it was a setup, or because I personally I don't know necessarily it's a setup. I mean, but it's kind of what's the other opportunity they can really give you? Is just like it gives opportunity for all the teams to see you, and you don't have to. No one team has to just take all the press and all the publicity of, all right, we're going to try you out, and it kind of just gave it like a little blanket, kind of in my eyes. But Rashad believed it was a setup. He was never going to get signed or just publicity stuff.
I don't know if I would say it was a setup. I do agree that it was a publicity stunt to an extent. I don't. My thing is like I don't. I think the people that didn't want to sign Cap, it wasn't just for football reasons. I know that he didn't look that good his last season in San Francisco, but I think the people who already had their mind made up that we're not signing Cap, it didn't matter how good he threw the ball that day. I don't think he's going to change any minds. He probably should have just done it. I get his point of wanting his own cameras there and things like that, but I do think he probably should have just to say that, because I think it would be like long term, it would be better on his part to where you'd be like, hey, I tried to conform for y'all, and y'all still didn't sign me. So like, what's this really about? You know what I mean?
But I don't even think it's just like, in my opinion, of like talking about trying to conform. It's just like, I'm gonna go to this trial, because what he did, he could have just did that any other day. It's just like, just realistically, you could have got, you could have went to this high school. You could have got cameras, and it's like you could have did it the next day. You could have did it beforehand. So I just feel like, I don't know, if they give you the opportunity, I will at least show up. And then it's just like, all right, I gave every, but now you leave the space for debate, and I don't know. I don't know, man. I don't want to be against him because, it's like, he was trying to do the right thing, but I don't know. It wasn't right. It wasn't the exact right thing. I don't know.
I mean, y'all already knew what would have happened if he went into the Falcons facility with no cameras. It would have came out, oh, he didn't look that good, blah, 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 blah. He's like, no, we want the people to see it for themselves. That's why I want to do this outside. Me not, you know what I'm saying? Me not settling, blah, blah, blah. So, I mean, he's just,
Why not do it the next day? If they do come out and say you don't look good, you can literally still do this exact same workout the next day.
Because he was already doing workouts on camera, like the entire time, like the entire couple years. And remember, he had Odell come out. They posted that on Instagram. He had so-and-so come out. They posted that on YouTube. Like, there's 30-minute videos, 17-minute videos of his workouts in this time of him not playing in the league. That's already been out there. So it's like, I think he was like, for this specific workout, no, we want the cameras, we want the media there.
Yeah.
And then he had a lawsuit against the league. So, of course, like I said, take this from us, sign this sheet of paper, and you can no longer pursue legal stuff against. And he get to the facility. Hold on, what is this? We ain't agree to this. Nah. Let's go to the high school. We're gonna do it ourselves. And 7 teams followed, and they watched them. So I mean, it is what it is. But yeah, I thought it was a publicity stunt and kind of BS from the jump.
Yeah, it was a lose-lose situation. It shouldn't even came to that at that point. Like he shouldn't have had them in trying out to get in the league. He was good enough to at least be a backup because he wasn't that good as last year in San Francisco. He definitely was respectable enough.
Bad system and a bad team.
Yeah, no, the team was trash.
Right.
Oh, but I guess now I thought Mo was going to continue. I guess we would transition over to the guy from The Wire, Michael K. Williams, I believe his name was.
Hey, real quick, I ain't gonna cap. I did have more to say, but I don't want to harp on it since it's been so long, and it's just like, I'm like the situation. We might as well just kind of let it just go because it doesn't really matter.
Say your last piece at least. Say your last piece.
I do feel, I don't know, just one thing that I felt during and then when everything was happening, it just kind of, it was just, I don't know. I just felt like he just did a little too much. That's just the way I personally felt. I just felt he did, like him trying to he tried to take on the moment. He tried to be the moment. It's like he thought like, all right. And I felt like him taking the knee was the justifiable thing to do. But then there was a lot of actions after that just kind of like, all right, you're not really helping your cause. You're not really, you gotta
like donating $1 million to different organizations.
Okay, bro. All
What?
right.
Like, what are we talking
I mean-
about? Wait, him wearing the pig socks? Is that because he wore some pig socks? Because he wore pig socks to practice. You're right.
But
He wore some pig socks to practice one time.
But that's what I'm saying. It's just things of that nature. It's just kind of like it's unnecessary. It's just kind of like, for real, like what's the statement that I get the statement that you're making, but you're making it already. So now that you're trying to push it further, I don't like not say push it further. But
them pig socks ain't bother nobody. He donated $1 million to folks over the course of a year and a half.
I mean,
you know the story. And
but
then
that's what I'm saying. That's why.
It bothers some people.
Oh, go ahead, Jelani.
No, you said the pig socks ain't bother nobody. No, they bother some people. I ain't saying that he shouldn't have did it, but I'm saying it definitely bothers some people for sure.
And that's how the story ends up getting misconstrued. And then, so I don't know, stuff like that. And yeah, I just felt the situation, you kind of went awry. Like, I was like, bruh, it's certain you got to learn how to, if you're going to make the real change that you want, you got to learn how to play within the game sometimes. And I think that's where he went wrong. I'm like, you're not going to be able to make the change that you want by just going so far against the system. It's like you got to play within it so that you can be able to really make the changes within it. And it's like, but now
I think he did make great change though.
I mean, so what do you think? What's his lasting effects?
I think it's a greater statement to go so far, to push them so far to where they have to ban you and where you lose your job. He knew what was going to happen. He said it after the first game when, I don't want to say he got caught, but the first time, a reporter asked him about it after the game. I believe it was Steve Weish from NFL Network. He's now with the Falcons. But, the first time Steve Weish asked him about it, and he said, am I going to lose my job? Maybe. He was like, but at least I did it for fighting for what's right and fighting for he knew what the deal was from the first time he did this. I think his impact.
He had a expectation that it may like, oh man, maybe this one team, but he didn't think it was going to be this. And I guarantee you, if he knew it was going to be this, he would have went about this differently.
I think so, because I don't think he would have. You have to think, bro. Like Colin Kaepernick was the talk of the NFL for 2-3 seasons when he wasn't in the NFL. Like that wouldn't have happened if he was in the league. Like,
I mean, what is being the talk of the
like he did
what does being the talk of the league do? What does that give you?
He like that. The entire everything that the NFL has done with the Black Lives Matter on the field and the donating to Black organizations and donating to social justice campaigns, bringing on Jay-Z, all that was because of Kaepernick.
All right. As I said, like.
Mo. Respond to that. Do you think that would have happened if Kaepernick didn't take the knee and
but
all that attention to himself?
But that's the problem. Like, you're trying to make it seem like I'm saying he didn't do nothing, and that was the thing I was saying.
No,
I didn't think he didn't.
I'm saying he made a bigger impact getting kicked out than he would have if he would have still been playing today. It wouldn't have been as big of a deal, because like people would have got over the kneeling. Like it just would have been like, that's the kneeler. The people who hate him is gonna hate him. It's kind of like, I hate to compare it because it's like a criminal versus just someone who offended you. But Mike Vick, when Vick came back, he's always gonna have his people that boos him because of the dogs. But at the end of the day, people are gonna stop caring eventually. By the time he was on the Steelers, ain't nobody care about it. You know what I'm saying? Like, of course, there's a pocket of people who's still gonna boo him, but at the end of the day, it was just like, okay, this is a football player again. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's how it was going to be with Cap if he stayed in the league. He didn't make much of an impact staying in the league. He wouldn't have, is what I'm trying to say. He made more impact getting kicked out and being like that. That's my theory.
I feel you, and I guess I somewhat agree that, like, I guess him getting kicked out, but I still, as I said, there's just actions, and I don't like to go through like everything is just like in a sense, because I feel also with you being the face of this situation, it was just kind of like a lot of the communication that we were hearing from Colin Kaepernick were coming from Ebro, were coming from his girlfriend, were coming from, and that was the issue. There was so many, what he was doing was right, but then it got misconstrued because you didn't go really about it the way that it needed to be went about. Because that's the thing, we all live in our own different bubbles. We're all, and like, especially with social media. So everybody is thinking like, oh, well, he was talking all this time. And it's just like, the thing is, they're not seeing all that. All they're seeing is the socks and stuff. And it's just like, they're seeing different things. So I feel like, I don't know. I'm not saying that he was wrong, but I just say, there's certain things that I would have went about it. I would have went about it a little different. And I'm not saying.
I agree with that. I agree with that.
Yeah, and that's what I was saying. I'm like, if he knew it would have been this, like, he thought he was just going to be a martyr, but it's like, all right, I'm going to still be able to play football. Like, that's why he was still trying to play football. But it's like, you got to realize, either be this martyr or be the football player. And it's like, I think it got to that point. And that's what, like, kind of, for me personally, I'm like, bruh, like, because if you're going to still be this martyr in the league, they just going to kick you right back out, bro. So it's just kind of like, what did you really want? You know?
He wanted to be the martyr while still being in the league. That's what he wanted, the best of both. He wanted to be like, can you accept me as I am? That's pretty much what he wanted.
Exactly.
But I got a question for y'all though.
Mm-hmm.
Who do you think in the last 5 years has been more influential in sports? LeBron James or Colin Kaepernick? I think it's Cap.
I mean, it depends on what you.
I mean, in the terms of the social justice kind of things, not just in general. In general, LeBron is probably the most impactful in the world over the soccer players.
Yeah, if we're talking about as far as the social justice movement, I might say probably Cap, just because even though LeBron definitely does a lot as far as social justice issues, I feel like the Cap story, it was a story outside of sports. It wasn't just really like a sports story like that. So I would say that I do think it's hard for me to say that the NFL did a lot of that Black Lives Matter stuff because of Cap, because I feel like that was more of a George Floyd thing than anything what we saw last year. I feel like that's not to go too much into that, but I feel like that case was such a blatant case that couldn't really be argued. That for some, it's like even the companies that usually just sit back and kind of just let these things play out kind of had to say something about it. So I guess you could say Cap, just as far as bringing awareness, but LeBron, I can't really understand how much he does as far as social justice too.
Yeah, that's a fact. I think, I don't know. It's really tough because it's just like, man, like with every little situation, you know, LeBron, he's there, you know, just like he's right there in your face with either a press conference or, you know, a tweet, something, you know, and then also, you know, the whole just shut up and dribble, because he had a whole movement, you know, started because of him as well. So that's a tough one, man. Like, it's really hard to say. Low-key, I kind of want to say LeBron, bro. Because I just feel like LeBron been doing so much. But I feel like Cap, he did a lot for the NFL. But I just think, like, LeBron he helps all athletes. Like, but I mean, Cap did it for everybody. But it was kind of like, I don't know. Yeah. I don't want to say it, that wasn't who really better. I don't know. I can't really decide, man. Cause I think I kind of want to say LeBron, but then just after having the conversation, I want to make it seem like I'm just trying to downplay Cap again, you know? Like, just to be honest. So just realistically, I feel like it's kind of LeBron though. That's just how I personally feel.
I feel it. But I guess moving on now, closing in the last couple minutes. Michael K. Williams, former actor from The Wire, and just a black actor on a lot of black stuff. But Michael K. Williams, he OD'd. Yeah, well, see, I mean, like, I was like, okay, he's on The Wire, and then he did a couple other like legendary roles, but it was all on black stuff. So I was just like, it got from a lot of blacks. That's why I said like that. But Michael K. Williams, give him his respect, a legendary actor, black or white or Hispanic or Asian descent. Uh, and he died of an overdose a couple weeks ago, maybe like a week ago. How long ago was that? 2 weeks ago. And then yesterday, at the time of this recording, Norm Macdonald, former longtime SNL Weekend Update anchor and just legendary comedian, he died from a private battle with cancer at the age of 61. I just wanted to know you guys' thoughts on both of those guys and those situations.
As far as Michael K. Williams, that was really sad to me because uh, he just seemed not even like just as an actor, he just seemed like a really cool dude. Like he just from everybody that knew him or interacted with him, they just talked about how positive he was and how much love he showed and just how genuine of a person he was. So just outside of him being an actor, he just seemed like a genuine person, and that was a big loss. Obviously, that Omar role is legendary. That's a role that'll be talked about for a long time. So he'll always be a part of history just because of that role and the role that The Wire played as far as like being one of the all-time great television shows. As far as Norm Macdonald, he was like a kind of like a comedic genius. Like from like the interviews I've seen him do and him's like random like appearances in movies and shows and things that I've seen him on. His timing was crazy. It kind of reminded me of Chadwick that I don't think like last year people didn't really know he was battling what he was battling. He kind of just battled in silence. The same thing with Norm. It was kind of really unexpected. So just rest in peace to both of them.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel with Michael K. Williams, man. That one was sad. That one really hurt because I was a fan of The Wire. I haven't finished the entire show, but I was a fan of the show, and I don't know. It sucks that happened. And with Norm Macdonald, man, I've seen a couple stand-ups. I didn't really haven't seen much of him, but still a very unfortunate thing. I feel I think that's the best way to handle, especially with being in the spotlight and then, you battling these issues. Like, I think the way he did it and kind of Chadwick did it as well, it's not everybody.
MF Doom too.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, so they said he died of cancer? 'Cause I remember when he died, they just said he died like 2 months later.
No, I don't know how he
Yeah.
died, but I'm just saying like he died privately, at a young age. So
Yeah, that one was crazy. Like he died on Halloween, and then they didn't release it until New Year's Eve.
Yeah. It was. It kind of made sense for how mysterious he was, and like, not to get sidetracked, but it was like what? Like this is random. I didn't even believe it at first.
Yeah, I remember reading the report. It was, said he died, and it was October 31st. I was like, what? Wait, how we just finding this out? But sometimes I think especially when you live in the spotlight, sometimes, especially at the end, it needs to. I'd rather just be close knit. Not everybody sitting here hit my phone all the time, like how you doing, blah blah blah. A lot of fake love.
Right.
a lot of times it's like people not hitting you up out of love, but hitting you up because they're nosy and they want to know your business. In times like those, so that's like the first thing when you said fake love and stuff. And it's just funny, thinking back with like some of Drake's lines and stuff. He's always talking about his fatality and stuff in his music, but when he's like the airlines at Air Canada Center when they're gonna have to fly out to do your freight card, it's just funny. It's just funny when you see stuff like that. But when you see DMX and Black Rob, like, so many times where every part of their kind of final days were documented, and then it was leaked, fake reports that they died before they actually died, and then they actually died. It was just kind of sad and messy for the family, a lot for them to deal with. Imagine how many times they got a false report that DMX died. You're getting a call, and then you're like, he's still on life support. I'm in the room right now, and then your phone's going off all day saying sorry for your loss. Like, that's a lot. The Robert Horry situation with not Robert Horry, Rick Fox, when they said he was on the helicopter with Kobe, You know,
Oh
it's
yeah.
all that type of stuff of rushing to be first and getting things wrong. Um, that's a lot for families to deal with. So I think, yeah, like you guys said, um, I don't know if it's necessarily just like a commendable thing for the celebrity to hide their diseases from the public as a kind of a courage thing, because I know we applaud that, like that's human nature for us to do, but I think it's also healthy to let people know what's going on, you know what I'm saying, and not just keep things to yourself. But I think it's more so for the family members when you do pass that it's always not just, it's not aired out for the family's business isn't aired out to the world. I think it's more so for them than, the actual person.
I don't know if y'all remember, but when with DMX, they actually got the report, and the whole family thought that he was actually going off of life support. And like that report had went out, I think like it was around like noon that day. And then they went back in, and like the lawyer talked to somebody and was like, no, that's not true. He's still on life support and he's in critical condition. And then, he ended up passing. But, as you said, that whirlwind, bro. Like I couldn't imagine, like you telling me like, oh, he's gonna be good. Like we all like, yes, everybody at the crib, like crying, thank God, And then you get the call like, nah, actually, like, hey, come up to the crib, come up here right now. So yeah, man, it's unfortunate, but RP to both of those guys. RP to the comedian. I don't know exactly his name.
Norm Macdonald.
No, the one that died out in LA.
Fuquan Johnson. You talking
Yeah.
about overdose? Yeah.
I got one to bring that up. The reason I wanted to speak about that is just, like a little PSA, man, be careful what y'all, what y'all using, what y'all doing, who y'all buying it from. Cause it's crazy out here, bro. Like there's so many people just dropping from dropping from fentanyl. That's what really killed them. And so many people thinking that it's something else and you just not being aware. And I think, certain drugs, y'all might just need to stay away from, AKA Coke. Y'all don't know what be in there. So go ahead, just fall back from that one. Cause I think it's just too big of a risk at this point. It's just people like really dropping like flies, like left and right, just because they think they got a good line of Coke and then bam, it was fentanyl. I know y'all seen the little meme of the penny. And yeah, I saw this one. Oh right, it was so funny. It was like a meme. It was like, this is how much, for the fentanyl that could kill you. And then somebody was like, all right, bet, take half of that. But but nah, but for real though, yeah, y'all gotta chill. And I just, prayers up to everybody, and yeah, stay safe.
When in the pre-prod when Mo was like the comedian that died of an overdose, I thought he was talking about Michael K. Williams, because Michael K. died from an overdose, right?
Overdose.
What did he overdose on?
I think it was like heroin and fentanyl. I believe so.
Damn, that man. I can't believe people be really doing heroin, bro. I'm not even gonna cap. Like when I was in college, I met the dude who, when I was down in Southern, him and like the football player, they went to, I think like Holy Trinity Spirit, whatever. No, or St. Pius, something like that. One of them schools, but they had like did heroin together, and then like the football player ended up dying. And like the dude, he had came to school second semester of my freshman year, and we were out at a bar because he was a friend from my roommate. And then the dude just walked up to him and was just like, yo, are you Yoki? And he was like, yeah. He was like, you killed Robert. And then like, it looked like he was about to fight him. I was just like, oh my gosh. Like, I walked away. I was like, bro, this is not my situation. But yeah, man, I don't know. Certain things I'm like, bro, it's not that deep. But once you get on it, man, it's hard to get off.
Yeah, I don't judge people for their addictions. Like you said, like once you get on it, it's hard to get off. I just think I feel like the heroin thing, well, I can't even just say it's like a previous generational thing, but I would say like back in like that era that he grew up in. I don't know when he started doing that, or if he started doing it as an adult or when he was younger, but 70s, 80s, like it was more of a commonly used thing. I don't think really fentanyl. I think that's like a more of a recent thing where defense, because I even okay, not going as extreme as heroin, but if we go back to like 2009, 10, 11, 12, there was a lot of rappers rapping about popping pills at that time. Like Molly was like the new hot drug, and Perks and Zans, and you know what I mean? Like that was a big thing in the music around that era. And I just think that era is over with. Like that era of just not them rapping about it. I'm saying the era where you should just be at a party, just like somebody offer you a Zan or somebody offer you a perk or a fentanyl tester. They do have testers for that. You know, if you're addicted and you need to use that, then it's your thing. But yeah, like you just said, people just gotta be careful. You can't be just out trying to live like a rock star and just snorting random lines because it looks cool and stuff like that. Like you gotta just kind of be more responsible now because it's dangerous out here.
Do you guys see how old Soldier Boy and Lil Wayne look? Like both of those guys are in their 30s. Like I think even Lil Wayne is still only 39, and Soldier
Yeah.
Boy is 30, and those guys are like they're 80. You know, they say black doesn't crack, but like all the drugs those guys have done, it's got them looking like 50 years older than they actually are, and it's kind of sad.
Hey, well, what Gucci Man say, rock star lifestyle. Don't make it, you know what I mean?
Right.
They lived a fast life. They were child stars too, you know.
Yeah, nah, that's a fact, bro. Yeah, that's a good point. I didn't even think about that, but that is true. Just how you were talking about the days of, just it used to really be people just offer you drugs. It's like
Yeah,
I remember.
and like, all right, I'll pop a Zan with you. Like, not now, bro. I'm good. Like, no.
Yeah, like, all right, bro. Like, where you get it from? Who, like, but little stuff like that, bro. Like, it's, man, I don't know. Times are crazy. You really gotta know what you're doing, who you with, your circumstances, and honestly, just all them drugs in general. Like, you might just, I don't know. We just need to chill off of a lot of that stuff because I don't know. I've had a couple friends that's really been like addicted to it, and it's like I remember having conversations with them, just like, bruh, like I, I don't want to see you pass. I don't want to see you, something happen. But when you get, and a lot of times you're just trying to escape, and when they really need that escape, I guess they don't really care because it's like, yeah, I don't know.
And for us is for young black men is lean. You know what I'm saying? Like, it might not be the traditional party drugs that are associated with a lot of white people, but for us it's lean because lean was that, like Jelani said, when it was the poppin' Zans and stuff, it was the double cup was cool. And it's still like a cool kind of fashion statement. Like you see Drake, he'll come out with a double cup, styrofoam or whatever, sitting courtside at a game, or sitting front row at a fashion show or something like that. So the person I always think back to is Fredo Santana, when he died from liver damage from his lean addiction. And he said in his last few months of living, of just, yeah, I developed this lean addiction because it helped me get away from my PTSD that I had from being in the hood for so many years over there in Chicago. And I think that's the most under talked about thing in hip hop, of just like Fredo Santana, pretty big rap star, cousin to one of the biggest faces in rap of all time. And he died before the age of 30, not because he got shot, not for a drive-by, but because of his, kind of dealing with stuff, trying to get away from, dealing with mental health and stuff like that. I thought that was kind of a bigger deal than what it was made to be, but definitely, I don't know. I don't know how to deal with it. I don't know how to prevent it, or tell someone to try to escape from it, because, I just don't know.
Yeah, so it's a slippery slope, man. Like I said, hopefully you never get into it to begin with, but it's hard to tell somebody once they get into it, like, just stop. It's not really it's unfortunately these things are extremely addictive, and there's a reason we got rehab centers and things like that. You know, it's just
Right.
an unfortunate. It's an unfortunate issue outside of even just hip hop, just America in general, the world in general. You know.
Right.
But
Yeah.
I guess we can go around and give our parting shots.
Right. You want to start, Rashad? Or
I
you
don't
got
even
one?
have one this week. My stuff was like Norm Macdonald. That was like the main thing on my mind of just like I said last week of continuing to embrace everybody. But I want to give a shout out, man. I don't even know if I should do this publicly, but I want to give a shout out. I'm gonna say the rapper name to kind of protect his image. But Count Up, I want to give a shout out to Count Up. Oh, I'm tripping. Fofo Cap as well. Fofo Cap, previously known as
It's,
Fofo Capital.
it's not.
Go.
It's 4-4. Just
It's
44.
4-4.
Yeah,
He
44.
changed his name every week. Whatever your name is, you know who you are. Uh, the last mixtape is hard. It dropped in July. I didn't know about it until this past week when I was looking on Apple Music. I was reading bios of projects on Apple Music, and then I was like, let me look up my friends. So I saw Mo's page. I was like, oh, this look cool, nice picture and stuff. I looked up Taliban. I'm like, oh, it's nice, and not that Taliban like the musician. And then I looked up who else out. Fofo Cap. So then I'm looking up Fofo, and I see he just released something in July. And I'm like, oh, let me check it out. Oh my gosh, it's really good. The last project, his first project, his debut project, I really wasn't feeling it. It was a little too left field for me. I didn't know what type of direction he was going because I seen him his first days in the studio. I know he can actually rap, and I know his favorite rapper was J. Cole. So I don't know where the heck this Cardi impression came from. I really wasn't feeling the first project. I'm like, yo, what the heck is this? Oh, how far they have strayed. And I thought all hope was lost. I thought it was over. I thought he was washed. Boy, did he prove me wrong. It was 8 tracks. I like every track from track 2 to track 8. It was beautiful. The Detroit beats, the Michigan beats. He's from Detroit. He embraced that side of himself, mixed it with the little Southern little Cardi, but he used it as an instrument like Cardi does. It was just beautiful. Music that made me move. And he also had a girl track in there too. He had like a little love track. You know what I'm saying? I love the diversity of project. It's a great project. Salute to Fofo. And like I said, like I was about to say, salute to Count Up. Just has grown into a great man, and I know he's going to probably come out with some really good stuff, probably within the next year or two. So just look out for those two dudes.
Yeah, just for my parting shot. I just wanted to just the MTVs was excuse me, the VMAs were Sunday, and I just wanted to say that I don't know when this happened. I don't know when exactly MTV became socially irrelevant, but I remember growing up, even though I didn't get to see like peak like Michael Jackson era MTV, like late 80s, 90s when it was like really in the forefront like that. But I still saw TRL era, like Celebrity Deathmatch, certain like Jackass. Like MTV was a real important. Cribs, Pimp My Ride. Like MTV was a real big deal. I would say all the way up until like the Jersey Shore Teen Mom era, like early 2010s. And in the last 8 years, they just let it become the ridiculous rerun network. Excuse me, ridiculousness rerun network. And I just want to say it's just kind of sad to me because it really was an important network as far as determining what was cool and who was the next hot artist and things like that. And the fact that they had an award show Sunday, and outside of people commenting on like pictures that were going viral of certain outfits and things like that, I didn't see anybody talking about the performances or the awards themselves or anything like that. So yeah, for our partner shot, I just want to say shame on you, MTV, for what you become, Viacom.
I do want to sneak in and say that VMAs is where Logic, when he performed 1-800, that's what took that song from just being a song on his album to being like a huge Billboard smash. Is he performed it at the VMAs? So that was a couple years ago. That's
Oh,
the
that's right.
last relevant thing related to music I can even think of that has happened at the VMAs.
How long ago was that? That was like 2018.
2016 probably. But
Yeah.
no, 2016 he was still making good music. But I guess I was 2018. Yeah, I guess so. What did you look it up? Did you look it up what year that song was?
No, I'm about to look right now.
Okay. But yeah,
Uh,
but whenever that year was, that was the last year that like something really popped musically because of that award show. Cuz he was doing that performance and, giving that speech to that song and performing
uh,
that song on his tour. Go ahead.
that was 2017.
2017. So it's
Yeah.
been 4 years. Yeah.
Last MTV VMA moment I remember was this is 2015 when Miley and Nicki got in that. I still don't know if it was a real argument.
Miley
but,
was good. That was the same year Kanye said he was running for president.
That was the last moment. That was the last time I remember watching that show.
That was really good.
And it was just because I just wanted to see the Kanye speech. But that's the last time I remember it. That was 6 years ago now. So, you know what I mean?
You never know when those things are going to like, when's your last time if something's going to be relevant? Like, you never know.
Didn't like Kendrick do like a big performance like 2019?
That might have been the BET Awards.
Okay.
Okay, because I remember when Kendrick was really big, like he was at the top of it. Be humble, he doing all that. Like,
Yeah.
He did BET Awards that year. And I was like, oh, that's nice. Like, and J. Cole did it too. Like, J. Cole was like really popping and he opened up BET Awards with Wale. That was really nice. And then Childish Gambino, when he just did This Is America, he sat front row and Jamie Foxx called him on stage. So
Jamie Foxx was an asshole for that. But.
Yeah. he said, come on and do something. And then like the camera went on Childish Gambino taking the mic and he's like, I'm not doing anything. And then like they ain't send him that paycheck. It was like, nah, man, This America, the hottest song. I ain't about to perform that for free.
Right. Facts. So I'll say my parting shots. I'll give a shout out to Baby King. Like personally, as I said, I really like the project. I think this was a good step forward. As I said, I think he has a lot of space to grow, but where he's at right now, I can see that it will be a real growth. Some artists, they just kind of become a little bit better than versions of themselves, but I feel like he's really going to grow into like an artist. I really like the flow and everything and just like the whole album, but give a shout out to him. And I want to give a shout out to the voice of the streets, who's now becoming the voice of the world, Lil Durk. We got a new song with a Latin artist talking about the trenches still.
I gotta look this up.
Yeah, bro, I just saw it earlier. So yeah, he say he in his, prime Lil Wayne phase right now. So it's only up from here, bro. I think he just started. So I gotta give them a shout out.
Shout out to Brick, man. Shout out to Brick. Brick produced Do-Rag Activity on that album, on the Baby Keem album.
Oh, for real?
Yeah. Shout out to Brick. Hard. That's our guy. We got to get Brick on.
Right. What did you about to say, Jelani?
Oh no, just real quick. Like before we get off here, I just wanted to say, I don't know if people really notice this, but Durk and Baby dropped the album this summer, and nobody really talked about it. Like those was probably the two biggest rappers of the year.
Artists. Yeah,
it just kind of came and went. Yeah, I feel like that was kind of crazy. And I didn't even hear anybody say it was bad like that. It just didn't. It was just pretty wild to me that I feel like we're kind of over. I kind of felt the same way about the Jay and Beyonce album a couple years ago. Not to topic, but like that just like Ape Shit was kind of a hit, but outside of that, it didn't go crazy. I thought it would.
For me personally, the reason I don't revisit the Durk and Baby album as much is just like that weekend his brother got killed.
Oh, yeah.
And then it was kind of like, I was like, all right, bro, you've been wilding. And now, I was just kind of like, I don't even want to hear you talk about this right now. Like this resulted in your brother just getting shot. So I'm just kind of like, I was just personally kind of like, I'm going to chill off of this for a second. But I think some people were kind of like, bruh, like, I don't know. I think that it kind of took a little momentum away from the album just with that, because everybody was like, dang, like, you really, all the people around you getting killed, and it's kind of a result of things you're saying, So I think people kind of didn't want to hear you talk about like, you're going to do it for who? do all that different stuff, and so because it was he was talking about a lot of sliding and the ops and all the different stuff. So it was just, for me personally, I was kind of like, I don't really want to hear this right now.
Has Back in Blood been the biggest rap song of the year?
Mm,
It's lit.
it might be. Way Too Sexy is gonna end up being pretty big.
Yeah.
But yeah, we say like the song of the I don't want to say song of the year, but the biggest rap song of the year.
Kind
It
of
might be.
like I always go back to 2018 with Sicko Mode and Mo Bamba, like how like
Mhm.
there hasn't really been a song that large since then, and hip hop at least in rap. I mean, the Bad Guy from Billie Eilish probably in all of music, but like with hip hop, there hasn't been a song like Life is Good has a billion plays on YouTube, but is the actual song isn't, you know what I'm saying? Has
Mhm.
there been a song in
Yeah.
hip hop since Mo Bamba Sicko Mode and rap that's been that big?
It's hard to say. Mo Bamba, it was. I feel like Mo Bamba became so big because of like college crowds during football game, like around the time that it came out. That was like football season.
Yeah.
So like it was a bunch of teams. Every college game you would see, they would be chanting that out. Sicko Mode is self-explanatory. Like two of the probably Travis is probably outside of Drake the biggest commercial. I'm not saying like the best or anything like that, but just from commercial standpoint, he's probably the second biggest artist in hip hop right now. So that made sense. The only song I can think of that maybe came close as far as commercial, maybe like the Baby Shug. Like I don't think it was
That was
as
a big
big as
one.
a song, but that
Was
was
a
a
big
pretty
one.
big song.
That was a big
Yeah.
song.
Yeah. Or if you want to count Lizzo, like Truth Hurts was a pretty. That's
Yeah,
not my
that
lane,
was
but
pretty big.
that was a
That was
big song. You know what I mean?
yeah. She's rapping in it.
Right.
Y'all like Rod Wave?
Um, I think
He's
he's
cool.
talented. I don't listen to him though.
You breaking up, bro.
Okay. Yeah, I said I think he's talented, but I don't listen to him though.
But you say he cool, John?
He's I feel like we did say we said something about this in the first episode too, but I feel like he he musically it's just too sad for me. Like
Yeah.
I want to be sad sometimes, but I don't want to be sad for a full album.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We did speak about this, just how he does big numbers. 'Cause I was thinking, 'cause I was trying to think like some of his songs really be doing crazy numbers, and a lot of people like them. But I can't think of like that Tombstone song is a popular song, but it's not Back in Blood. You're not gonna hear that.
Oh, I
everywhere.
forgot. The song last year, the 42 Doug, Little Baby song.
Oh yeah, we pay.
That was big.
Big
That was
song.
big. That was a big song. That was probably okay. That's the biggest song since Sicko Mode and Mo Bamba. Is We Pay, and then Back in Blood has overtaken that.
Yeah.
Which one?
That We Pay song was huge. And it was
Man, I
like
feel
we were on lockdown, and you still heard that song everywhere.
right.
Yeah.
I feel like in the top 5 songs of the year, I feel like Moneybag may have like 2 or 3 of them.
Time
Time
Today.
Today, Waukesha.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I hate
Yeah.
Waukesha. I hate that song. It's not a bad. It's just annoying. Like it's just an annoying song. It's like it's a love song to Lean. Like it's just kind of loser talk. It's loser talk. But let me think. Top five songs, hip
Yeah,
hop
we too
rap
sexy
songs.
for that over here.
Okay. All right, Way Too Sexy. What's the song? Back in Blood.
I only
Time
said that
Today.
because I feature was like, I'm too sexy for this me.
Oh, he said that.
But you keep going in and
I know.
Yeah,
Wi-Fi,
you hear
but
that?
it's the end of the episode though. It's the end of the episode. We good.
Yeah.
If it's gonna be Wi-Fi, it's gonna be at the end of the episode.
Right.
I'm going Way Too Sexy. Time Today. Back in Blood. Dang, we don't have no type of girl songs in here. Cardi ain't really come out with no heat like that for real this year.
Up is fire. Up is actually a pretty big song. Up is a
That was this year?
yeah. That was
That was last year. That was last
No,
year.
that was this year.
No,
And it's
that
up
was-
and it's up and it's stuck.
that
That
was
was last. That won't know this year.
this year, bro.
When that come out?
Probably like
Nah.
springtime.
Give me a date. Give me Mo's looking it up right now. I need a date.
That was
Let's
just,
see.
Oh, that was 2020.
nah, cause I
February 5th.
yeah, so I'm saying it's like springtime, bro.
Yeah.
Yo, this has
yeah,
been
that
a
was-
long year, bro. That
Yeah.
felt dang. All right, so I guess up is I guess up. And then dang, what's the fifth song? I want to sneak in what's the name really bad, but I don't think it's that big. It should be in the top 5.
What?
What's your name?
Uh,
But it's not big enough. But it should.
Yeah.
It should be in the top 5, but it's not big enough.
let's see. What's the name? I'm trying to think what.
What song
Maybe.
They always play on the radio.
Oh, every chance I get, maybe.
Oh, the yeah. Every chance.
Ski. Actually, ski. Ski is number 5.
Oh, Ski. Yeah, Ski is pretty big.
Oh,
And then what's the other song? What's that song that they always play? The Polo G song.
Oh, Rap
Me and
Star.
Van Ray dubbing, I'm bound and I made it. I'm making like 2,000 in a minute.
yeah, I'm good
that
on
one. That was
No
a pretty big.
disrespect no disrespect to Polo G. It's just not my jam. You know what I mean?
Right.
I like Polo G. Yeah, as far as Back in Blood is probably the biggest song of the year. We'll see what Way Too Sexy does. We still got the whole October, November, December, like a lot of major acts come out around that time. We still got a Kendrick album more than likely coming out this year.
Right.
So the fourth quarter will be interesting to see.
Facts.
All right. Well, everybody go around and shout out your socials and we'll get out of here.
On Twitter, you catch me _Jelani, JELANI, 2 underscores at the end.
Catch me on Twitter or Instagram at RBMo __. Find me on all platforms as Mo Knows.
RashadMillen.com. You can follow me on Twitter at @free_Kennedy Carter. Until next time. Oh, this is the road to 2K subs. Mo asked me last time we recorded. He's like, why didn't you say this is the road to 2K subs if you are new to the channel?